Just to clarify, as usual, you can get on and start the platform and spot as much as you want until you touch the obstacle. If on the start platform, when you touch the obstacle, then you can no longer step off, run out or anything like that. All right, any questions? Cool, let's move on to the next. All right, so this one, I'm going to show you this as well. It'll make sense in a minute. Here's your start platform. This is the handle obstacle. You can only move past the start and then go with the I wheel to get to your finish platform. So we'll see that and then Alright. Any questions about that one? Remember the platform, you can get on start as much as you want. If you touch that speed bar, you can no longer leave on start platform. So get your run up and alright. Any questions about that one? The last one is the work wall, so look at that one. All right, guys, for the speed course, everyone went up to 12-foot work wall, and then your buzzer is going to be there when you get up there. So, yep, that's also your challenge to see how fast you climb up, how fast you do the entire course. There's one change right over here. The men are also going to have, the males are also going to have a block. Okay, we should keep everybody.
Hey, this is Premier Series. When we said they were going to take on the toughest courses, we meant it. Critical at this point that he finishes. If she wants to win this competition, she must beat Area 53 and hit that buzzer. That just goes to show you what you are up against in the Premier Series. Home for our second of 8 Premier Series qualifiers, and we have had a tremendous weekend so far, an incredibly exciting amateur competition this morning, and now we head into the teen division. Alex Cunningham alongside Jack Anderson. Jack, welcome to the booth.
It's always a pleasure to be here. Really excited for week 2. I mean, last week was absolutely incredible. I think we've seen some of the best ninjas really go at it head to toe and just go all out. So I'm excited to see what week 2 has to offer. Being back in the booth with you, mate.
Always a pleasure. We have a smaller field on the teen female end, only 2 competitors, but as we saw, not necessarily an automatic qualifying spot for them. They do still have to beat 3 obstacles in the challenge course, which undid half of our amateur female division, so they still have their work cut out for them.
Of course, Alex, and I think that goes to show, especially when it comes to ninja, mistakes are there to be made. The challenge course in and of itself can be incredibly difficult, and whilst there may only be 2 competitors, we're still going to have to fight. They're going to have to fight for those top spots and make sure that they're worthwhile to make it to the final series.
Very true. Emily Fisher is going to be running first in that division. She was in first place in Southeast points, made it to stage 2 at the World Championship. Taylor Chaput. I'm going to go with Chapatit.
Yeah, it's a bit of a struggle.
You know what? That's on me. I was the one who insisted on a pronunciation guide, and I was also the one who forgot to put it on the AccuLine. So that's on me. But Taylor was in the top 10 in Northeast points, a shocking fall on stage 1 at the World Championship, but a 5-time Worlds qualifier, so she's no slouch herself. It'll be interesting to see them go mano a mano for the first place prize.
Absolutely, and yeah, as always, ninjas are always going for that top spot, always competing. No matter how many people may or may not be in the competitive field, I'm sure they're going to be both pushing each other for times today, both in the qualifying and challenge courses. And I'm really excited to see the courses today. You know, as we step up from the amateur division into the teen division, we're of course going to see changes to the course and increases in difficulty. And then once we step up from the teens to the elites, we again get to see that increase in difficulty once again. And I'm really excited to see the changes that they've made on the course so far.
It'll certainly be interesting to see what they decide to do for the teen division. I kind of joked that Brett was going to take some of the clears personally in the preteen division, and we saw the course come back with a vengeance in the amateur division. Kane and I were talking about,
okay.
well, you'll probably need to clear in a fast enough time. And then Kane Slider came in just wrecking our field. Only 3 athletes were able to beat it.
Wow. Well,
And-
that also makes for a really interesting course. You know, sometimes
Yes.
when everyone's finishing it at the top time, it's just kind of nice to get back to the roots of Ninja, where just completing the course is somewhat good enough in order to secure you a spot. Kind of the old Ninja way, I guess.
Very true, and we saw last week in the Elite Division it started to become a bit of a speed course. This week, we've seen it be a lot less of a speed course and a lot more of, really testing power and endurance and just fighting to the end of your time limit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Last week was definitely, we had so many of the elites completing the course. And it was just like the 2022 World Championship Stage 1, where everyone really had to push the time limit and really go all out in order to secure a spot in the Premier Series finals. It did make for some incredible entertainment. And
Oh, yes, of course. I don't want to dismiss
we-
Ferox at all, because you and I were out of our seats a number of times with excitement.
Absolutely, and yeah, I'm so excited to kind of get back to our roots, see what the ninjas are truly made of, and see them really push for those spots. And as you've mentioned with our 2 female teen division athletes here today, if they've still got to make it through 3 obstacles, and this is an incredibly challenging course, then I think they'll still have to work incredibly hard to secure that spot. It won't be an easy and free position.
Certainly true. Over on the men's field, quite a stacked field. The name that will jump out to people is Michael Sherman. And for those of you at home thinking, wait a minute, where have I heard that name before? Michael Sherman actually competed last week at Ferox and qualified, but he finished 3rd with a full clear of the course, I might add. And apparently he wants a gold medal before finals, because he is back here at Motive trying again.
That's incredible. How does that work in terms of securing a spot if he makes it into the top 4 again? That doesn't mean that he would take someone else's
No,
spot once
it
again,
would it would bump down. So, for instance, if he finishes in 3rd again this week, the qualifying spots will go to 1st, 2nd, 4th, and 5th. So he can't take a qualifying spot from someone largely in it for pride and, a little bit of extra on top.
Yeah. No, definitely just looking to get that practice in, potentially just scoping out the competition, as we move towards finals over the next 6-7 weeks. He's probably just scoping it out, getting himself prepared, getting himself in that mindset. So when it gets to finals time, which is going to be absolutely hectic, he's going to be well prepared for it.
Exactly. And we also have Nathan Hone, a shocking exit late on stage 1 at the World Championship, but he was 1st place in team male points in the Southeast, and we saw his brother Blake qualify in the preteens yesterday. So I'm sure he wants to match that feat and perhaps do even better and win the whole thing.
Absolutely. Well, he's going to be facing a tougher course today. I think I'm just genuinely really excited. Alex, have you noticed any key obstacles that ninjas have been really struggling with so far that perhaps the team should be looking out for?
Well, the main one, of course, is Cane Slider. So we've seen it get progressively more difficult as the divisions go on. And the tricky thing here is that athletes at the beginning of the challenge course were having a lot of trouble pulling up from a UFO It's about a 2-foot pull up to a nunchuck. We saw most of the athletes who cleared actually kind of dyno up and just catch it in the air with 2 hands. But a lot of athletes were having trouble holding onto the nunchuck with one hand because the cane is facing the opposite way. So it's not like in the preteens yesterday where we saw Blake, speaking of Blake Hahn, where we saw Blake skip right from the trampoline to the cane. If they opt to do that, which several did, then they would have to turn the cane around in midair 180 degrees, and not a single athlete was able to successfully make that catch. All 3 that beat cane slider in the amateur division did the intended technique of pulling up to the nunchuck. So skips can come back to haunt you, and it really did for the competitors who went for that move.
Well, it's going to be really interesting to see how kind of the teen division tackled this obstacle, to see, first of all, if any modifications have been made, and how they go about approaching that obstacle. You know, they must know by now that it's definitely one to watch and one to look out for and one to make mistakes on. So that's going to be a really interesting one to watch. I always love to kind of have the sticking point in a run, because last week, you know, as we kind of got into that elite and teen division, we didn't necessarily see a specific obstacle that made ninjas fall. It was more so just ninjas making mistakes consistently at different points throughout the run. So I always love to have an obstacle in there that's just really hard, really, really difficult to overcome. But once they do it, it's wow.
Certainly true. And some athletes that overcame a lot of obstacles at our World Championships include John David Spatola and David Fuderin, some of the top runners from the World Championships. John David was 8th, David Fuderin was 11th, and both of them made it to the second to last obstacle of Stage 2. Recall, we only had one athlete beat Stage 2 at all. So, given they made it that far in the incredibly difficult Stage 2, it bodes well for their ability to take on this very difficult course that they will be taking on in the challenge course.
Absolutely. You know, it's so incredible to see the experience that they have and to see the resumes in which we're being presented with today from some of these athletes. You know, experience is always essential in proving your worth in this industry. And Alex, I think we're stepping up to our first competitor here.
It appears so. Our first competitor is going to be Emily Fisher, number 1 in the Southeast region in points, defeated Stage 1 at the World Championship and came undone by longboarding in the second half of Stage 2. 9th in power rank as well. And she is underway on this speed course. Time limit of 1:15, but we've seen most athletes defeat this course and do so with a lot of time in the bag.
Okay, well, Emily's going to have the time on the agenda, going for that first place finish and really setting the time here. Setting that pace and moving through toss-up really, really well so far. Just incredibly clean.
Very true. 7 obstacles on this course. This the 4th ring slider as she reels in the dismount. And she's going to want to keep the urgency going, as that's largely where we've seen the difference be made throughout the weekend. It's not necessarily your time on the obstacles. It's almost the running between obstacles that's made the difference.
Well, moving through flywheel with no problems there as she approaches the warped wall with 25 seconds here on the clock. Alex, what an incredible time to start us off today.
50 seconds, right up there with the top amateur females. That actually would have come in second in the amateur females, so a great run.
Yeah, all around just very, very consistent. No real slip-ups there, no real problems that we saw throughout that run, and as a result was just able to secure an incredible time. That would give her a lot of confidence going into the challenge course after this.
So Taylor knows what she needs to do. She's coming out of Next Level Ninja in New Jersey, one of the newer WNL facilities for Season 9. Joe Capo and Abby Clark run that facility, and they both did very well last week at Ferox.
Absolutely, Alex. They did incredibly well. And Taylor is moving with great pace and calmness here as we move into ring slider here. I love the obstacles and I love the pace of this course and what it presents. But having a bit of trouble there as we now move into the infamous dropping boxes.
All right, she's got it. A little bit. I'm actually kind of surprised that you can make it through without full sprinting. She kind of paused a little bit on each one, but was able to keep them upright. Very impressive.
Yeah, an incredible technique there as we move into flywheel with really, really good pace here. And now just coming into the warped wall, Taylor's going to be going all out here as she makes it up and gets her way to the buzzer, again with a really, really solid time there of 54 seconds. Both of our athletes, Alex, proving that they have what it takes to take on the challenge course, and I think they're both going to show incredibly promising runs.
Very true. It'll be Taylor going first, although she did at least get a buzzer. That's always good for the morale. And I take that back. We have 3 in this division. Okay, I guess my
appearance.
I guess my run order needed updated, as Danielle McDonald is on the course right now. 50
Now
seconds the
moving
time
into
to beat.
No, this is incredible. We always love to see additional athletes in the run lineup, Alex.
Oh yes,
More the merrier.
absolutely.
Adds to the competitive edge, as Danielle is perhaps setting the fastest pace we've seen so far as she moves into dropping boxes. An incredible, incredible run so far, and making no mistakes here as we move up to flywheel, just trying to get that momentum as quickly as possible.
Got to get around the
Looking
box.
very,
She should
very
have the
solid.
fastest time if she gets up the wall quickly. And she will.
Looks like it might be Alex.
That is going to be 47 seconds. Danielle McDonald surprising us all, not only by her appearance, but by her speed, as she will get the fastest time, unless there's even more tricks up the sleeve in the team female division. But an incredible run nonetheless by Danielle.
I think we'd be happy to see more and more surprises in the lineup here. Danielle just proving that she's really here to compete. She's here to dominate the competition as we now move into the team male division.
All right, so we know it'll be those 3. Enzo McCry, our first runner. Enzo
Again,
made it
with
to
a few more
So go ahead.
competitors here in the pace course for the team males. They're definitely going to be pushing that time. As we're seeing, this really is a speed course. Enzo absolutely flies through this course so far.
The vast majority of athletes have cleared this entire course, and you can see moving with a lot of urgency and going to set a really strong time for our competitors. What is the final
That
time?
is
32 seconds.
Just the pace behind every single movement there. I'm sure there's different ways in which this time can be dropped down, but Enzo was going all out there in that run.
It feels like, now granted the placement course is completely random, but it feels like it might even be a little bit advantageous to run early. And I think we might have had, I think we miscalled that one. I think that was John David Spatola who just ran, given that I'm matching Enzo's face to the screen right now. So that's my bad. John David with a tremendous run. He was the one who made it in the top 10 at the World Championship. The second best of anyone at the World Championship in this field, although Enzo not far behind, having made it to the halfway point of Stage 2. And he's also adding the links.
Yeah, no, you love to see the links on an obstacle like that. It's incredibly satisfying. They're going for that pace, and they're all competing for that top time, to be truthful, because the placements in this first speed run is going to really help them in the challenge course, where they get to watch other ninjas. And Enzo is really flying through this course.
In fact,
Has
might
the
have a
potential to
faster
take
time
that
than
top
John
time.
David. Really quickly up the wall. And 31 seconds just barely edging out John David.
What an incredible, incredible run. We're really seeing the ninjas push it here. Just saying, okay, how fast can I go? How much can I push this? You know, they know that they're just competing for placements, so it's always worthwhile for them to go all out in this competition.
Here is Colt the Bolt Elder. He was in second place in the Northeast Regional standings, coming out of Elite Athletics.
Colt the Bolt. I love that name. Hopefully that gives me confidence of the run that we're about to see here.
Apparently this timer really loves Enzo because it wants to put him on the start line for the 3rd time. There's Colt.
There he
10th
is.
place in the power rankings. Very impressive. Top 10. A huge achievement in a very stacked team male field. One of the biggest divisions we have in the WNL.
Well, Colt is going incredibly fast so far. Definitely going for those links. It looks like that's going to be the strategy that we're going to see from all our competitors.
I think just about everyone's going to have to link them. The way that John David and Enzo have laid down the gauntlet for our competitors is the first 2 runs already lightning fast times. And Colt with that pop Didn't even get any height on that swing, which saves him just a little bit more time. And that's going to be our third sub-30 time, 27.4. The third sub-30 time we've seen in any division this weekend.
Wow, Colt, really laying down the gauntlet here, showing people that you need to be incredibly efficient with every single obstacle, not overdo it with the swings, you have to link in these moments, because if you want to keep up and you want to be in that top spot, it's absolutely essential.
Logan Bono coming out of the rig. I believe we established that that's in the Atlanta area. I could be mistaken. Logan was in the top 10 in points in the Southeast this past season. And he is also making some quick pops through toss-up.
Wow, I'm liking what I see here with this run. Logan is really crushing it. This is an incredible pace so far. If he can keep this up, this could be an outstanding time here as he lines up flywheel.
Oh, he got crooked,
Ooh.
but kind of that half backswing. Great wherewithal to know that he wasn't going to be able to dismount and makes a time-saving move. Despite that backswing, he still finishes in 30 seconds, putting him into second place for the time being.
That just goes to show how fast he was going through the first half of this course, Alex. Despite having that little slip up at the end, he's coming in with almost a sub-30 time, and he looked pretty happy towards the end there, and that's all that we want from our ninjas. Well, next up, Alex, we have Alex Higgins.
From one Alex to another, representing Knicks. That I know for sure is in the Atlanta area. We saw Michael Johnson get quite a workout as coach earlier in the weekend, and now on the sidelines for one of his athletes. Alex was 16th in points in the Southeast. Looks like he's ready to go. Of course, all of these athletes have so much to be proud of based on their Season 8 performances, having to finish in the top quarter to qualify in either the World Championship or their regional point standings.
No, definitely. Well, we can see Alex here. Is he going to go for the Lynx here? Alex, I'm sure you're silently rooting for him as you guys share that same name. He's got to do pride to the Alexes as he's
Certainly
looking to line up a finish on this course.
We don't have any Jacks in this division, unfortunately. Did he come up? Okay, no, he passed the plane, so he's good. A little bit shaky there in the dismounted ring slider. 30 seconds gone as he begins flywheel.
Alex taking that second swing here as he lines up flywheel. Really wanting to make sure of it, just going for that completion and trusting that.
Oh, I don't think he finished. No. They will have to give him one additional point and maybe review this landing on the ring slider as well. Oh, yeah, he came up in front. So we'll see if that clear on the ring slider will stand in any event. We know that that won't stand. So a tough break there for Alex.
Yeah, that is a tough break. But, you know, that happens. Luckily, it's just the placement round, and he'll be placed really. He may not be placed the best coming into the challenge course, but we've proven that you can start anywhere and do well.
Very true. As we move on to Nathan Hahn. We've seen Blake and Chad run already this weekend. Oh my goodness! A bobble, but good save there by Nathan. Now he wins the toss-ups. And he's got some time to make up after that. But one of the fastest we've seen on ring slider all weekend. He's keeping the pace.
Yeah, he's really going to be going for it now. He's eyeing
here.
it up.
He is. I think he came up in front. He did. Oh my goodness,
wow.
That bobble on toss-up. He knew he was going to have to go fast. He went aggressive on flywheel and just didn't have the distance. And that's two athletes in a row that have come up short.
Proving once again that speed can kill. You know, you're going all out here. Luckily, it is that speed course, so athletes have that excuse, and it's not too big of a deal because I guess they'll just be placed earlier. But you kind of have to go for those moves no matter what when you're going for those top times.
Right. Well, Quinn Mitchell will be our next athlete coming out of Next Level. Our second Next Level athlete in the teen division. So we've been seeing a lot of athletes from the Northeast make the trip down here to the Southeast. Motive, a very popular facility, and a lot of people have wanted to check it out. And I imagine that has a lot to do with why we've seen so many athletes make the long trip to South Carolina this weekend.
Well, yeah, it's definitely a worthwhile trip, knowing what they're competing for and knowing just kind of the standard of competition and the experience they can gain from something like this. It's definitely always going to be worth the trip. As Quinn Mitchell moving through with a calm pace here, going into dropping boxes. It's not going to be the top time here, Alex, but we are looking for a finish. You know, we've seen athletes struggle with the speed, and it has killed their runs. So Quinn is looking really, really strong here on flywheel.
So Quinn will get to see some of the faster athletes run before him. And this is probably a calculated move, wanting to be sure that he gets that buzzer, not only getting the morale boost of hitting the buzzer, but also getting to run the challenge course later than athletes that didn't complete the whole course.
Absolutely. No, that was a calm, consistent run. And, you know, it's kind of a change of pace that we've been seeing from the other athletes, where some of them more recently have been going too fast for their own good and have fallen. So Quinn's really securing that spot right in the middle of the standings. And, yeah, he'll be well placed to see some athletes go, but also have to watch some of the later athletes really compete. As we kind of look towards our leaderboards there, we can see Colt coming out with a 27, and Grant Andrews now knows what he has to beat. An incredible time Colt there.
Representing Travis Rust on his shirt. Travis, one of our longtime athletes and coaches who unfortunately passed away a few years ago. And a lot of his fellow teammates at what was then Ninja Quest, now Nix, often represent him. And I'm sure Travis would be very proud of his athletes, including Grant, who is flying through this course right now.
Yeah, Grant is absolutely crushing it here on this course as he moves into flywheel with 45 seconds left. This is going to be a well-paced run here if he can stick this landing.
Oh, actually going to take a backswing. That's okay.
Athletes come unstuck here.
Very true. We have seen some athletes come up short, and that's probably in the back of his mind. Getting up the warp wall.
Yeah, just an all-round incredible run. We're seeing so much consistency here, such incredible display of talent, and of course, this is really going to impact them in the challenge course. You know, standings has such a huge influence, and Grant is once again going to be kind of placed in that middle of the rankings, and it'll give him both the opportunity to see other competitors, but also have to wait and see others take the top spots.
Well, next up is Matthew Buckner. Finished in 9th in the Southeast Regional Points. Coming out of Jungle Gym in Tampa. So far, so good for Matthew. And gliding right across the dropping boxes into the flywheel.
Yeah,
Commentators make
Matthew's
stumbles too
definitely
sometimes.
attacking this course with some pace here as he moves into the back end of flywheel. Had some experience here at the WNL World Championships for 2023, and it's proving to pay off as he comes up the warp wall with a really, really solid time there of 41.24. Again, just going to be an incredibly competitive run, securing him a well-placed spot coming into that challenge course.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to describe this as one of the slower times because, I mean, he smoked through this course. Nevertheless, though, still going to run after a number of athletes. And we'll see where Cooper Hall falls in that run order as he is taking on the placement course right now. Another level-up athlete. Opting to take some backswings here.
Cooper placed third in the standings for the Southeast. An absolutely incredible ninja with a lot of experience here coming into dropping boxes. Probably my favorite obstacle of this speed run. He is really attacking this course with some speed here, Alex, as he lines up flywheel.
I want to see him dismount here, and he will. Coming around the wall. This should be a sub-40 time if he can get up and over quickly. A little bit of trouble muscling up. But a time of 38 seconds, very strong.
It just goes to show that, yeah, you know, that whilst it's an incredibly competitive time, we are still kind of seeing athletes get them all the way down to the 27 seconds, which shows how fierce of a competition field this is going to be for the challenge course.
Evan Newcomb is our next runner. Finished 10th in points in the Southeast.
course, looking at his statistics, he has 6 podium finishes in the 2023 season, so Evan knows how to place well in competitions and is proving that here as he moves through the ring slider. And now over to dropping boxes. Evan is really attacking that course, aiming to really get into that top spot.
And smart there. He was kind of bobbling a little bit on the flywheel, didn't have a huge swing into it because he went with one backswing on the trapeze. So he took a backswing on the flywheel, noting that other athletes were having some trouble with that dismount, and he finishes in 36 seconds.
Yeah, just an all-around incredibly consistent run there. And I think we're starting to see with these later ninjas, they've seen some of the really fast ninjas fall as a result of their speed, and these guys are just now kind of looking to secure a spot and make sure that they really secure that spot.
Jonathan Covington is coming out of Osega Ninja Academy. Believe it's either Georgia or Florida. I'm sorry, Osega crew. Well, let's see how well Jonathan represents you guys.
Starting to see a little bit less of the links here, Alex. Ninja's really making sure of these grabs as Jonathan comes into ring slider.
Yeah, I think
14th in.
I think seeing Alex
14th.
and Nathan fall early have kind of given these athletes a little bit of a pause.
Yeah, it's definitely making them reflect and make sure that they are getting these grabs and making sure that they're getting everything. Now Jonathan lining up the warped wall. We are really starting to see some consistency of finishes here, and this is going to be an incredible time here of 41.75. Again, just an all-round solid time. And it will leave him well placed in the standings as we gear up for our challenge course later today.
Very true. He should be running right in the middle of the pack, so he'll see plenty of opportunity to figure out where he needs to finish. As we move on to our second to last athlete, David Fuderin. Finished in 11th at the World Championships, but noted that he's finished on the podium at the World Championships before. He's also apparently done the world's first flying bar flyaway, which is a bar tech move with a backflip in midair.
Holy moly. Well, David is showing
Yeah,
us
I mean, he's
means
showing
business.
exactly why he has been right at the top of a number of competitions, as it looks like he may potentially be at the top of the leaderboard on the placement course with
Wow.
28.
What an incredible run. Yeah, that's going to secure him a top spot there in those standings, placing him incredibly well for our challenge course. David really showing there that he not only has an incredible resume coming into this course, but he can back it up with a run like that. That was very clean. As we move into our last competitor, Leo Castro.
Leo representing SoFlo Ninja. We've seen SoFlo show up really both weeks. Last week there were a lot of athletes that made the trip up to Brooklyn. A little bit shorter of a trip to South Carolina this week, but showing up in full force in both comps.
Yeah, the SoFlo athletes have not only been showing up, but also dominating and showing their strength in numbers. I mean, we've seen some incredible runs out of those athletes. And Leo Castro, as our last athlete here, is really pushing for that top time.
28.2, that's going to be in second place. Even faster than our previous runner, David.
It's been such an interesting way to see how the teen male division has operated there. You know, we saw some incredibly fast runs at the start. It kind of lose its pace in the middle, and then really pick it up towards the end there with some of our best athletes coming through at the end. What an incredible set of runs there. Just so competitive from our top ninjas as we look back towards the board here.
Leo, I just realized, by the way, competed last week in the teen division, was unable to complete boats the next to last obstacle, so he's back for a measure of revenge, and so far performing very well, being in second place.
Yeah, Colt Elder just really, Colt the Bolt, proving his name and earning that title once again with a 27.4. The other ninjas are definitely going to be eyeing that up and knowing that he's the man to beat here today. Just looking 3 sub-30 runs we can see there, and a lot of runs not too far behind. And we can see all the way down at 11th place with Grant Andrews. It pays to finish. You know, there were a lot of ninjas that really took it way too fast, and as a result fell on some of those critical obstacles, and that's going to cost them coming into the challenge course.
Very true, but we do see kind of a similar phenomenon to what we saw in the preteen male division, where we have, some strong times up in the 28 to 30 second range, and then they sort of start to fall down into the 40 seconds quicker than you would expect. So I'm noticing that there seems to be kind of I'm trying to think of the word I want to use here, but I think there's just some athletes that are taking some extra swings, and then there's a second group of athletes that just wants to run as aggressively as possible.
I think so. I think some athletes are really going for that completion, and I think that mindset might be really really valuable coming into the challenge course, because as you mentioned, we haven't been seeing as many athletes completing the course altogether. So sometimes taking that extra time, just focusing on the completion, can really help push your placings up towards the top.
Let's take a look at how this format will work. We have the placement course done. Okay. There it is. The placement course is finished. We now know the run order for the challenge course, and we have seen today, especially, you and I were talking about we still need to feel out just how important the placement course is determining the run order for the challenge course. And we have found that it is extremely important. Just in the last two divisions that we've had here, in the preteens, it ended up being a race to the buzzer, and athletes realized that they needed to go really aggressively. Whereas on the other hand, in the amateur division, we only saw one clear, so the last couple of runners knew that they needed to get to cane slider quickly and then could take their time to try to defeat that obstacle. So run order is important, but we've also seen some upsets from the front of the field.
No, I always love to kind of see those upsets and to see those surprises come through the door. And I'm sure we're going to get some of those today, but it is undeniable that the place you get during your placement course has such a huge impact. We've seen it in almost all levels of competition, even at the World Series, coming into stage 3, stage 2, when you know what Ninja's scores are and you know how far they've gotten and you've just got to beat that. It's such a valuable asset to have. So Colt the Bolt in the teen male division and Daniel McDonald are going to have a huge advantage here coming into this second half of the competition.
And I want to take a second look at Danielle's run if we can get her replay loaded up. She kind of just caught us off guard, so we were in the midst of transitioning into talking about the teen male division. And then Danielle comes in and just blazes this course in 47 seconds.
Yeah, no, that was an incredibly surprising and dominant run. Just all around incredibly consistent here. We can see her moving through, dropping boxes, and really not taking too much time on flywheel, going for that top spot and proving that she is the ninja to beat here today in the teen female division. Just an all-round incredible run. You can see, just such an incredible lineup here. I think the teen female division is going to be very competitive for that top spot.
It certainly will be. So it'll be Taylor, Emily, and Danielle in that order over on the teen female division. Recall that they do need to beat 3 obstacles on the challenge course to qualify. And we saw in the amateur female that wasn't a given, so hold the presses for that. But as we move over to the teen male division, I want to take one more look at Colt Elder's run. Colt the Bolt living up to his name with a 27-second time, one of the very fastest that we have seen all weekend long.
Yeah, no, we definitely, as he was such an early runner, we definitely underestimated the value of the run and the speed at which he was attacking this course. But we get to see it again now, just how dominant he was all throughout that course and really earning that title of Colt the Bolt. All round, just an incredibly clean run, just excelling at every single instance that he possibly could. And yeah, no mistakes there, proving that he is the dominant competitor coming into the teen male division. However, there are a few ninjas there really hot on his tail.
I really like, by the way, quickly before we move on to Leo Castro, who also put up an excellent run, I quickly want to highlight that lunge he made at the end of the warped wall. We noticed yesterday a lot of athletes were taking some time to try to muscle up over the warped wall, get their leg hooked over it. He just kind of just grabbed it and then dove for it. Here is that one more time. It's one of the fastest climbs of the warped wall we've seen, and that saved him the second he needed.
I think that's just also a proof of Colt's strength and speed as well. Getting up that warp wall as fast as he did is a combination of both, and some other ninjas may struggle with that. But yeah, I would love to see some of the other runs here. Hopefully, if we can get up Leo Castro's run here and see how that kind of compares against Colt's run. Yeah,
Leo
just
was
all
so
around an
smooth
incredibly
with the
smooth run. We're only talking 1 second's difference here. Again, an incredibly dominant competitor, and we're going to see how he vies against Colt the Bolt. And he was our last competitor, actually,
Yes, he was.
setting one of the most dominant runs.
And after an unfortunate error on boats a week ago, you know he's going to be hungry in that challenge course and puts himself in good position to potentially grab one of the qualifying spots
Leo
today.
has that experience now. And yeah, just kind of looking down the run order, it's incredible to see three runs sub 30 there. And hopefully if we're able to pull up David Feuderen's run, it would be incredible to kind of see an equally powerful run there.
Yeah, David coming in with one of the most impressive resumes of the field in this competition. And he put up a very impressive run.
He definitely backed up his experience there.
He certainly did.
Coming in from the World Championships with incredible experience. David, very happy with that run once again. Our top 3 athletes are they've all got their unique styles, all got their unique skills, and you can see the time difference is less than a second between all of them. So you know that they're going to be coming into that second course, the challenge course, the course that's much more difficult, and really go all out for that top spot.
Well, we will see the challenge course in about 10 to 15 minutes. We're going to take a short break here on the stream. We'll rejoin you in Greenville, South Carolina in just a bit. But first, this message from Ocean Needs Everyone.
Ocean Needs Everyone is celebrating 5 years of saving the oceans. My name's Enzo, and through Ocean Needs Everyone, I help save the ocean by doing beach cleanups, CO and mangrove plantings, making art about recycled plastic, and making films regarding the ocean's health. How can you help save the oceans at home? Well, even if you don't live near an ocean, trash can end up in there eventually, so cut down on your use of single-use plastics. If you see trash on the roads or beaches, make sure to pick it up. Use less gas-powered vehicles, fish responsibly, and help support local organizations. I started my organization when I was 12 years old because I wanted to make a difference. So remember, you're never too young to follow your dreams and make a change. Let's all save our oceans together, one piece of trash at a time.
That'll be the couple. Okay.
That's the main.
That's like the front. That'll be the main change. Okay.
We saw that down here.
I'm trying to decide what happens here. And then I can try to decide. We're thinking about either of those guys or one of them.
I think one of the two would be good.
No, I'll do the one.
Yes.
Or I go extra hard.
That'd be super subtle. You can just be like,
adjust the fill bar to get to your finish platform at your very end. This would be the Intermission. Alright, questions about number one? Alright, so see how she's saying on the start platform? That's because we're looking at platform. So start platform for obstacle number two. So remember, don't jump down to the carpet, okay? You're going to go straight into the next obstacle. This is a feet-only obstacle. You can only use a wooden block as well as a springboard and the spinning log to get to the platform at the end. Let's do the demo. Any questions about cool? Alright, if y'all want, we can just like walk down on this blue mat right in the middle, and there's two obstacles, and then you can land over here. Down right here. Alright guys, we're just going to do a demonstration for the ladies version, and then it's going to get a little harder for the men. We're not going to do too much of that right now, but I will let you go change after we do the women's demo. For this one, it's a hand-only obstacle. You can touch the black bar here above me. That's the only black bar you can touch. After that, it's only yellow handle that you can touch to get to the finish platform. So let's give them the women's version. Visualize that. Alright. And go ahead and turn around and look at the toss up.
And she don't blitz. Like you got up there and went.
I mean, that's kind of imaginative.
Yeah.
Alright, the next one is a hands-only obstacle. For the ladies. They can use any part of this obstacle that they want, including the handles on the side, the male spot, and the handle on all of them. So we'll go ahead and see a women's demonstration here.
Let's go, champ. There you go. 100%. Good job. Good job. Let's go. Good job. I like that. He just appeared out of nowhere.
Alright, so we're going to do now is to show you the demonstration of like the parts of the obstacle you're allowed to use. The difference is going to be that on this one here, those yellow balls are going to be swapped out with these flippers.
Which makes sense.
Okay? So that should change your finish, but the rules are you can use the outside yellow hole and the handle, but not the male hole. Alright? So we choose the yellow hole.
Huzzah. Yes, but you're going to have to, like, for the most part. Because you're going to be really good at it. But you're going to stay.
So again, guys,
second one back. Because you can try to go between while you're squeezing. The handles are on. Arms, so they can go back to the back.
And then I'll tell you the rules. All right, let's listen to the rules here. This is your starting platform. You can only use your feet on the box. You're not allowed to put them on the top of the box. The front face. You can use both ropes with your hands to get to the finish platform as well. Questions on that one? Just feet on the box. Yes, I'm sorry. The jump spider is allowed with hands and feet, any part of it, including the curves and the flat part. All right. We're going to move on. Come this way. Going in under where you can trapeze flat wheel. That would be the same spot you see on our next two obstacles. It's underneath the trapeze flat wheel right here. Okay guys, this is another one of a variation in the rules. So I'm going to do the girls first and a demonstration for the women. So women, you can use hands and feet on the bar. You can use your hands on the black edges and the yellow fingers on both sides, as well as those black edges. Okay? All the black edges, including the top black, all that is fine, and yellow fingers. For your feet, you can touch anything you want. For your feet, so they can go this, they can go to the boxes, they can go here, you can touch the truck, that's okay. All right, so let's do the middle of that for the women. And here's your finish platform right there. So for the men, you are allowed to use these handles, the blue part of the handle, they're going to be sitting right here when you go to them. You're allowed to use your feet on the yellow bar, you can use your feet on the blue boxes, and you can use the blackboard on this side only. Alright, for your hands. So feet can go on all the blue boxes both sides, hands can go on the black on this side. Alright? Go ahead and demo the Intermission. You can touch the top and sides of the glass with your hand, and you can use your feet on the blue light. Nice. Any questions? Flip around and this one, right under you. The cane slider. So if you're going to this one, turn to the side. Rainbow, the Blue Cone, and the Cane to get to the finish platform at the end.
Welcome back to Greenville, South Carolina, where we are on the challenge course portion of the proceedings in the teen female and teen male divisions. It has been a tremendously interesting competition so far all weekend long, and we expect that pace to keep up here in the challenge course of the teen division. We saw only one athlete, Jack, beat this challenge course in the amateur division earlier today.
That is correct, Alex. And, coming into the teen female division, we have seen some phenomenal runs from these athletes. I mean, going back just 15, 20 minutes earlier, we saw Daniel McDonald set down the gauntlet and show the other female team competitors what they're going to be up against. I'm excited for the Challenger course here today. I'm excited to see how these athletes vie on a much more challenging course, one where we may or may not see completions here, but we're definitely getting back to the roots of Ninja. It's not just going to be about speed this time. It's going to be about endurance, and it's going to be about seeing what these athletes are made of once they're pushed towards their limits.
Sorry, I got distracted for a second. But yeah, I'll message you on the side. Yeah, this challenge course has been a menace all weekend long. We saw in the preteen division, athletes were starting to get the hang of it, and then it struck back hard in the amateur division. I fully expect that same level of intensity is going to keep up in the teen division, and I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with Cane Slider.
Exactly, yeah. I think what we're going to see here is some of the athletes. For the teen female division, of course, we only have 3 athletes competing in this, but it is worth noting that they still need to complete the first 3 obstacles in order to go on to the Premier Series finals. And therefore, it is absolutely essential that they complete those first 3 obstacles and then go on to secure better places in the times to come. And it's going to be really interesting to see how they vie on this course. I know they're all not just going to be going for completion of the first 3 obstacles. They're really going to be focusing on completing that course and setting the top time with Daniel, with the set on at the moment, Daniel McDonald setting the top time by about 5 seconds ahead of her fellow competitors in the teen female division. And it's also worth noting that as we step into the teen divisions and as we kind of move up into the higher ranked competitors, we are going to be seeing a new course, a new adapted course with new challenges. And then, of course, once we move into the teen male and teen and elite division following that, we're going to see further adaptations that just make the course more and more difficult for our athletes. And we're definitely not going to see as many completions as what we've seen so far.
I'm hoping that we have some of our cameras set up. If we do, I'd love to see what is in store for these athletes. But quickly focusing on the athletes, like you said, Taylor with that really fast time in the teen teen female division on the placement course. We saw 3 sub-30s, which I wasn't sure if we were going to get 1 sub-30, and we got 3 out of Colt Elder, Leo Castro, and David Fuderin, both incredibly talented young men. And we are taking a look right now at the top runner of the place. Actually, this is... Oh, I'm sorry.
This is Taylor.
This is Taylor. Okay. My bad. It was
this
Danielle.
This is going to be our first seeded competitor.
Right, because we flipped the order for them. Okay.
Of course. So Taylor, again, still showing an incredible run. All 3 of our teen females completing the run. Can't say the same for the teen males. We saw a few slip-ups. Speed definitely killed those runs, and huge difference in the end. But we might be able to get a look at some of the other female division runs and what each of them are going to be throwing themselves up against. But the competition will be fierce as we come into our second seeded placed competitor here.
Well, this is Danielle. She was in... Actually, is this... My mistake. This is Emily. Danielle and Emily are teammates, so they have the same blue jumper, as you would call it in Australia.
Is what we
We're heading to
call
Australia
it.
next week. I need to get that lingo practiced.
I cannot wait for Australia. I think it'll be incredible. It'll definitely be my playing field in terms of just knowing all the athletes and being able to celebrate them and show what Australia has to offer during that time. It definitely will be a different course format. I'm almost certain of that, as Australia loves its kind of lengthy, difficult courses and pushing and making sure the athletes fall as quickly as possible through just grip-intensive obstacles, I find. So yeah, we can just see all the dates there, and we just have such a stacked lineup at an international scale. It's so exciting every single time to look at what we have on offer.
For sure, we have Australia, Israel, and the UK, and I'm sure we're going to get some ninjas from nearby countries into those locations as well. And I know that it will especially be true of Life Force because they are right on the US-Canadian border. They often have quite the Western Canada contingent coming to that competition. So we're going to see a very multinational field at the Premier Series finals in Brooklyn. And I cannot wait to see some of our international friends crush some courses in our upcoming qualifiers.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Alex. And I think this is really a world first for the World Ninja League, just to kind of see the competition of Ninja Warrior at an international scale beyond the World Championships. We're going to be seeing a unique display of skills and strength from each of the ninjas from all the different places around the world. And not only that, Alex, but I think we'll get to see a combination of the different course styles. You know, every country and every nation has its own different course structures to offer when it comes to ninja, and all have different techniques and different skills and strengths. So I think each country is going to get to show that off in their own unique courses and qualifiers.
Certainly true. Let's take a look at the teen male division. And one athlete that I want to spotlight is John David Spatola. We actually miscalled him Enzo just because we queued up the wrong runner. But John David had a tremendous run. He had to go first, so not knowing how fast he was going to need to go, still putting up an impressive time, 32 seconds. And of everyone in this field today, he made it the furthest at the World Championship, finishing in 8th place, the only top 10 runner from Worlds running today, made it to the second to last obstacle of stage 2.
Okay, well that's really good to know. You know, John, stepping up as a first place, like as a first runner, is no easy feat, and to come out with a 32-second time there and a 6th place, you know that he can push it even harder if he had known what other competitors were going to be pushing the time down to today. So I'm really excited to see him take on this course and see what he can pull off.
And speaking of Enzo McCry was in a similar boat running right after him. Enzo went out one obstacle earlier in stage 2 on longboarding, but managed to get one place on John David here today. So I think that those are two athletes that really could step up and crack that top 4. We've seen sometimes the top 4 in the placement course become the top 4 in the challenge course, but usually we see at least one athlete from outside, sometimes even 2 or 3, crack into that top 4 in the challenge course.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Alex. And I think that's what makes ninja such a beautiful sport. I am almost certain that we're going to see some of these lower ranked and early seeded competitors for the challenge course come through with some exceptional times, some exceptional runs, and put the pressure on here.
Yeah, here is Enzo's run, just so graceful through the entire course. And I like those real long strides he had coming up the warped wall.
Yeah, Enzo was a name that came up all throughout that. As a result, of course, our title card pair is there, just calling different athletes Enzo. But I'm excited to see how he runs. When you look at kind of the male division, you can see those top 6 athletes from John David upwards. They're really pushing the time there. There's a significant gap between them and the other competitors, and I think that's arguably where we're going to see the fiercest competition, which I'm excited for because that's going to be our last 6 runners, of course.
For sure, and that really ended up being the difference maker in the amateur division, where we saw there was a pretty sizable gap between 5th and 6th place. The gap between 4th and 5th was only 6 seconds, but the gap between 5th and 6th was 23 seconds. And I have the feeling we might see a similar thing happen in the teen male, or perhaps we'll see somebody surprise us and come in and crush this course with a dominant time. Hopefully, that will be true of Taylor Chapatot, as she is our first runner of the challenge course in the teen division. 9 obstacles. We'll see what the time limit is. It was 3 for the amateur women, 2:45 for the amateur men. And it really proved to be in play. The placement course, they were kind of crushing the time limit, but we've seen a number of athletes throughout the weekend time out on this challenge course.
And it's working for the challenge course. What makes key is that they do try if they fall 3 tries in total, but only 1 retry can be used on a single obstacle. So this is going to be really interesting here, Alex, as we move into spinning logs. An incredible display of balance and speed.
Not many surfing
Taylor
locations in
moving
New
through
Jersey,
with ease
but she made her way across the surfboards excellently as she is on to switch grip.
I always love to watch these obstacles. The anticipation. Gets the first grab.
Coming up to the second, this is kind of a sideways grab on, I guess, steroids. It's very difficult. You have to make this 180 reach here. Although we've seen some competitors just shuffle their hands, the main strategy has been to 180, which Taylor had down, but just wasn't able to make the grab. She will get a second attempt, and remember, she must beat this obstacle to qualify for the finals.
The pressure is definitely on, and Taylor would be feeling it. She knows what has to happen here. She knows she has to get this obstacle done. Yeah, and this is proving to be harder than we thought, Alex. You know, to complete the first 3 obstacles is no easy challenge here, as we've put some of the hardest obstacles at the start here. She lost grab.
We call this Premier Series for a reason. These are the hardest courses, but also the toughest competitors. But unfortunately,
So close
Taylor
there.
just wasn't able to grab that third board. The 180 move stymied her.
And we are seeing a different replay at the moment.
Somebody
all
in
around,
our
Alex,
production
it
truck just
was
really
still
likes
an
Enzo
incredibly strong
McBride.
run.
Tough break, though, for Taylor as we transition over to Emily Fisher. Henry Kutrek won the amateur men's division, so perhaps a good omen that he's on the sidelines for Emily.
It definitely would be. And now we come into switch grip. This is really that is going to crush out is here today. Emily knows that she has to make it through this obstacle in order to secure a spot in the Premier Finals.
But we did just see Taylor be unable to make this grab on 2 attempts. Let's see if Emily can get it. No, unfortunately not.
And it's going to be back to the drawing board here. Back to her second and final attempt on this obstacle.
I'm starting to get worried here, Jack.
Lining up the first grab. Okay. No dramas there, but can she get the second one? This is the really tough one.
She did. And now looking for that dismount. Oh, fourth board first. And she's through. As she makes her way over
Emily
to toss
is
up.
going to be our first competitor making it through to the Premier Series finals, and now can begin to relax as we move into the back end of this course with toss-up. She has another reset if it's required, but it doesn't look like Emily's going to need it.
Now, I'm not sure if the teen females are required to grab the slopers. Generally, the female competitors have been allowed to use a special delivery, but we've seen some of them just opt to go for the slopers to save themselves of an extra move. She is the
and
first
why
on
not
Jump
have
and
that
Spider
extra
Inscription.
challenge, Alex? As we move into the infamous jumping spider. And now coming through to our 6th obstacle on this course, Emily is proving to have an incredible run so far. As we move through Spinal Tap, just another endurance burner, one that's really going to burn out the forearms and make them have to work for their positions. Danielle's going to be our final competitor, is going to be watching on the sidelines here, as Emily is absolutely crushing this course and moving our 7th obstacle.
Well, the girls get a cone, which we did see that they were able to grab in some of the earlier divisions. Emily, though, having to dyno up to it. On these cones, you really want to grab high. It really doesn't help much to grab lower.
Emily's going to lose a little bit of time here as she lines up for the second attempt, her second and final attempt.
Gets it on her
Grabbing
second
his
attempt,
cone.
and now moving over to the cane. Needs to reach into that ring, and she can ride it on down, as she is the second woman today to attempt Deja Vu, first in the teen female division, really laying down the gauntlet for Danielle coming up next.
Okay, we are seeing an incredible run here from Emily. Gets the landing. Alex, we are witnessing an incredible run here.
That we are, but unfortunately, she's going to run out of time before doing anything more on Deja Vu. Great run out of Emily, stamping her place in the Premier Series finals and laying down the gauntlet for Danielle.
Just all around a very exceptional clean run. Using the retries where needed, again showing the power of the decision that has been made to incorporate those retries here. Emily learned from her mistakes on 2 key instances. You can see her just failing on the first time, but coming back onto cane slider the second time, an obstacle that has been infamous for taking out our competitors today. We get to see our first finish. Now, Danielle McDonald is going to be our final competitor competing in this, and we can see some incredible times there that she's going to have to try and take out. Emily, of course, throwing down the gauntlet there with a 2:34 course completion. So Danielle's going to have her sights set on that time, and she's going to be really pushing the pace there.
Well, Danielle will be up in just a moment.
Danielle, of course, has to complete the first 3 obstacles of the course, and it is proving to be more difficult than we expected, Alex. I mean, the transition on that third obstacle between the slider blocks and between those grips, that transition on that third grab is proving to be more difficult than we expected, and it's going to cost ninjas potentially their spot in the finals. And I'm sure Danielle might be worried on the sidelines, but once you move past that obstacle, you can begin to relax once again.
We saw both men and women fall on that 180 turnaround move. Incredibly difficult, and that's why we call it switch grips. You get one on the front, one on the back, and then you have to switch midway.
Yeah, and doing that midair under the pressure of like knowing that you could be losing your spot in the finals, it's definitely going to be proving difficult for Danielle and also for our teen male athletes following this. So now we can see our top-seeded competitor for the teen female division lining up, Danielle McDonald, a power ranking of 17 and an absolutely fierce competitor that we didn't even know was competing today until she popped up in our commentary box and blew us away with her placement course run.
She certainly did.
Now moving through, Alex, with an awesome pace so far. An exceptional run to this point.
Well, Danielle finding her hand placement here on switch grips. A much more difficult version of the sideways move. The switch grip technique, I think, was invented by Kevin Carbone a number of years ago, and one of the things I really like about Brett Sims is that he can take existing concepts and mix them together into a new Frankenstein evil contraption that Danielle just defeated.
Yeah, and Danielle has proven to us, she makes it look really easy there, I think, Alex. She really showed everyone up there, just moving through that with complete precision and nailing that run. As we move into toss-up here, again, going for the more difficult grips on the side.
I'm assuming
challenge?
I'm assuming they're required to. That or Danielle and Emily are just that good. Which, I mean, they are just that good.
They love the challenge.
Yeah.
Now moving through to jumping spider. Not necessarily the most challenging of obstacles, but definitely one where mistakes can be made as we now move into spinal tap. Just all around an obstacle that is designed to burn out the forearms, to make you tired as we move on to the back end of this course, and ninjas really have to fight here. But Danielle is setting a time that is proving why she is our top-seeded competitor for the team female division, Alex.
She is on excellent pace. Has not used a single retry so far. And if she were to beat this obstacle quickly, as Henry gives her some chalk, she would join Henry in being a winner here today. Well, being in first place today. Obviously, they're all winners, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, all around, just a phenomenal run so far. As we line up the grab,
Great grab.
She sticks it.
Just gotta get over that cane into the ring. She does, and Danielle is gonna have a first place time, but once more.
Danielle is going to be coming into Deja Vu. Our second last obstacle here. It's not over until it's over. This obstacle can still definitely take out the competitors here.
Let's get that pop up. Doesn't get it on the first attempt.
Ooh.
Gonna come back around and get it on the second. Yes, she does. Now
When
needs
in
to reach up
doubt,
to that
try
ring.
again. Now going for the second.
Oh wow. I don't know if she's
You can
just maybe out of gas or trying something unique here as she's doing a rollover to grab the ring. Very unique strategy, but unfortunately it's going to cost her the remainder of her time limit.
Yeah, you could just see the gas there. Danielle just all round setting an incredible pace throughout this run, but just falls short surprisingly. She was looking so strong throughout the first half of this course, Alex, and to be honest, I'm quite surprised that she came unstuck for an athlete that looks so strong and consistent throughout the first half of this run.
Yeah.
Just coming out on Deja Vu there on our final obstacle, taking us all by surprise. Our top-seeded competitor, unfortunately, not being able to take out the top spot there, but hopefully we're going to get to have a look at the standings as we now gear up to move into the teen male division, which is even more of a stacked lineup.
Yeah, I imagine we'll be doing some course change out, so we probably do have a moment. Alex Higgins will be our first runner. Both Alex and Nathan had a shocking fall. They were just unable to get to the dismount of flywheel as they were trying to rush through it. For Nathan, particularly surprising, as you can see, he's of the athletes on this page, he has by far the highest power rank.
Absolutely, Alex. And I mean, we've seen those two athletes fall, but it is worth noting that they were on an outstanding pace. They both had exceptional runs up until the point that they did fall. Speed did get rid of them, but some of our best athletes make mistakes from time to time. What's important is that they recoup, they take that feedback on board, and they come back stronger in the challenge course, which is arguably, of course, it is the more important course, but it is also a bit of a slower course. It's not necessarily just about speed, as we've seen just with Danielle's run there. It's also about endurance and your ability to play the long game here and focus on.
Very true. It is an incredibly difficult course, and if it's anything like the adult male course, they're going to be faced with some intense challenges, both in terms of spinal tap and cane slider. On spinal tap, they're going to have to climb. I'm sorry for pausing. I'm just looking at. Looks like they're making some modifications to the switch.
I think,
grips.
Alex, what they're doing is they might be making it a little bit harder even. For
Yeah.
our teen male ninjas.
Looks like they might be sliding it back and forth. Personally, I'm always fascinated by this little minutia on the course, trying to figure out exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
With the very small details that change from division to division.
And those small changes make a huge difference for our ninjas.
Absolutely,
I mean,
yes.
when you compare the teen male division from last week to the elite division's changes, I think it was day and night. The changes in the difficulty of the course and the standard we expect of ninjas as we move later into the competition, specifically for the teen male and then elite divisions, it really does take it to another level, and it really requires these ninjas to go all out on the course. But yeah, I'm incredibly excited to see how these ninjas fight for the top spots. The benefit of the teen male division is we really have a stacked lineup there. All of the ninjas are more than capable of taking out those top spots, and all of the ninjas are going to be looking for those top spots. More importantly, they're really going to be pushing the times down. We're going to hopefully see some completions here, provided that the course changes aren't too difficult.
They're taking this bar out, Jack.
I think we're going to
taking this
need
bar
to see
out,
more
Jack.
than just a completion.
They're taking this bar out. I don't know if they're going to flip it or if this board's going away completely. They're not messing around here.
Yeah, it could be going away completely, potentially, just to increase the distance between the grabs. and make that an even more difficult run. I wonder if we'll see anyone linking this switch grip obstacle. It's hard to tell. Only time will tell.
In the amateur division, I would still be a little. I mean, somebody's going to try, but it will surprise me a little bit. One change that I know is coming that I quickly want to highlight is on the spinal tap, where we saw the female competitors use the sides of the black boards. Those will be out of bounds for the male competitors. They'll only be allowed to use handles as they ascend up the blue vertebrae, as Kane called them.
Okay, so making it extra difficult for these competitors, really burning the arms, and we can say goodbye to one of those switch grips, I believe, Alex. Sad to see it go, but it's definitely going to add to the difficulty of the obstacles at hand.
And the question is it coming back reversed, or is it gone for good? It's coming back, they're reversing it. So I'm guessing what's happening is they're going to switch the orientation of the second and third board. So the main crux of this obstacle is that move from the second board to the third board, where you have to do that kind of 180 move. They're now going to require that more than once for these team male competitors. So it is going to be no joke. Anyone who clears this course is going to have earned it.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be some athletes in the lineup that do surprise us here. I think we've already seen a few athletes in the early stages who are very early seeded competitors come out with national times and secure their place as well. You know, we saw that from John David. We saw Enzo just really stepping up to the plate. And even if it's possible, we might be able to get up some of their runs and just kind of see how they went and see what we can look towards in this stacked competitor lineup here.
Yeah, I got a request from the chat to focus on Cooper Hall, an athlete that could surprise us. He finished kind of in the middle of the pack in the run order, but made it to the end of stage 1 at the World Championship and finished in 3rd place in the Southeast, largely because he took some backswings, but you can see definitely had the hops and the ability to make it through some of these obstacles a little bit quicker. I'm not sure if it's just more of a confidence thing or if he wanted to take a more conservative approach, knowing that even hitting that buzzer, he was still going to get to see some incredibly talented athletes, including his teammate Nathan Hahn.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Alex. When you hear that they've completed and competed at the World Championships, you know that kind of experience plays into their ninja style. You know, in the World Championship scenario, it's not just all about speed, it's also making sure that you get that completion and ensuring your place in the future competitions. So perhaps what we will see from Cooper now is an all-out run where he uses his experience to his advantage, uses his strength, and goes all out in this competitor course.
And speaking of Nathan Hahn, an athlete that definitely has the skills, but just kind of had this bobble here on toss-up on the trampoline. We've seen a couple bobbles on that trampoline. And I think from there, he just kind of came undone, lost a little bit of focus. And we're going to see here, he tried to go for this pop move. I think he caught the wheel too far in front. If he would have caught the wheel behind, he would have had the full rotation of the wheel. Or he was going for this pop move that some of the amateurs were going for, and you need a ton of power to get through that. So just a really aggressive move there by Nathan that would have put him among one of the top times. And hearkening back to a similar athlete last week, Charlie Ball did something similar, went for a really aggressive move, ran second, but then ended up winning the whole thing.
Okay, well that's really... Yeah, and John David, I think, really surprised us with an exceptional run, even though being kind of early seeded.
Yeah, our very first runner. And already showing that people are going to have to start linking, and then once they realized, oh, we're really going to have to move, some of the later runners were able to put up a little bit faster times than John David. Doesn't take anything away from the run he had.
Not at all. I mean, to come out first and come out the gates storming that like that with a 32-second run from memory, it goes to show that he's a competitor that whilst he may not be the highest seeded, he's definitely going to go full full force now that he's going to see 8 other competitors go all out before him. He's going to know what to beat, that's for sure.
Yeah, and
And
one
when we-
athlete that we haven't even said yet that I want to make sure, just to be fair to him after the excellent run he had, was Logan Bono, who finished in 4th. We talked a lot about the first 3. We've talked about 5th and 6th. I think it's only fair we bring up Logan Bono. 46th in the power rankings, so top 50, a very strong athlete. 7th in points in the Southeast, and he had a very strong run from start to finish.
Yeah, Logan is not an athlete that should be looked over. You know, that 4th place run, I think it's just a coincidence that perhaps we forgot to talk about him, but Logan, again, throwing down an incredible run. And I think when we're looking at the top 6, they're all so strong as athletes. Of course, Colt the Bolt is in 1st place at the moment, but all of these athletes are more than capable of taking him out in these more endurance-based courses for the challenge course.
You're really liking that nickname, Colt the Bolt, aren't you?
I am. I'm sticking to that.
I like it too. Here's Colt bolting through the course.
Yeah, and it's a well-earned name, Alex. I mean, he backed it up with the fastest time of the day, and I think as soon as you said his name, I knew it was bound to happen.
Well, you can see he had that similar pop move that we were talking about that Nathan might have been going for, grabbing right at the bottom of the flywheel and then just kind of throwing and pushing through rather than using your swing to your advantage. Which does save a little bit of time because you're not swinging on the flywheel, but you have to have a lot of confidence to go for that move.
And the one thing that really stood out to me about Colt's run was just the pace at which he attacked every single obstacle. The intensity was definitely there, and he's going to have a massive confidence boost coming into the more important run as we move into the challenge course. Unfortunately, there's not going to be as much running between obstacles, so we will see how he fares on the endurance side of things, but from what we've seen in that placement course, he is undoubtedly one of the strongest seeded competitors here today.
And one athlete that we want to highlight super quickly that's going to be coming up in the elite division is Enzo Di Ferrari Wilson, and we want to share a quick message of his from Ocean Needs Everyone.
Ocean Needs Everyone is celebrating 5 years of saving the oceans. My name's Enzo, and through Ocean Needs Everyone, I help save the ocean by doing beach cleanups, CO and mangrove plantings, making art about recycled plastic, and making films regarding the ocean's health. How can you help save the oceans at home? Well, even if you don't live near an ocean, trash can end up in there eventually, so cut down on your use of single-use plastics. If you see trash on the roads or beaches, make sure to pick it up. Use less gas-powered vehicles, fish responsibly, and help support local organizations. I started my organization when I was 12 years old because I wanted to make a difference. So remember, you're never too young to follow your dreams and make a change. Let's all save our oceans together, one piece of trash at a time.
Our thanks to Enzo for sending over that video, and we want to look a little bit further into the future. Jack, we're heading to your neck of the woods a week from this weekend. Ninja Academy in Perth, Australia. That is going to be a very fun competition highlighting some of the best Australian athletes.
Yeah, and we're going to right to the corner of the world, a place that doesn't get too much attention, and I'm really glad that Perth, Western Australia is going to be getting some love there, and definitely some of the best ninjas in Australia train out in that area, and hopefully it will be a fierce competition, I'm confident.
We will head back to the States in 2 weeks to Cedar Park, Texas for Austin Ninjas' competition. And so many top athletes down there in the South Central. We've actually seen a couple of very good South Central athletes these past 2 weeks. So they're going to get a chance to shine in the spotlight in 2 weeks. And Jack, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Nick Fortney's course design, but they come up with some pretty nuts things down there in Austin.
Okay, I cannot wait. And I don't know if you're familiar with the West Australian designs, but there are some absolutely brutal obstacles that get thrown into the mix. So I think we're going to see challenges on both ends. I think we'll see some more technical obstacles from Texas, but we might get a few more endurance-based ones from Australia. We'll just have to wait and see.
Oh, yeah. 2018, 2019 NCL finals come to mind. They had some of the craziest stage 3 obstacles I've ever seen. Sloper cliffhangers, vertical limits. They had a floating hole punch, a floating salmon ladder. It's just something is in Dave Robbie's bag of tricks, and it's going to come out, and it's going to be like, what have I just seen?
Yeah, I think Dave Ravi's philosophy is don't let anyone complete the course at all costs. So he will design anything to stop ninjas from finishing a course. I think if someone finishes, there's something wrong with the course, is the general philosophy of Dave Ravi. So we'll see what bag of tricks he's going to pull out next week.
Austin Ninjas, well, they were merciful on the Tier 2 competitors, although they definitely had very creative courses for them, very creative skills as well. They hosted the Tier 2 World Championship back in April, and they've also hosted a few of the South Central Regional Championships and a number of very entertaining WNL competitions over the years. And it's hard to think of a WNL competition where an elite has finished one of those courses. It's going to be nuts.
I can't wait, Alex. And what I'm most excited for is also in the back half of the upcoming qualifiers, we have Israel and the UK, which is really great to see the representation of our international athletes. I think last week we saw an Israeli athlete fly all the way over to the US to compete.
Gil Morantz.
It's incredible to see the scale at which Israel takes ninja.
And I don't want to say any names because I don't want to shame anyone into competing because maybe they're busy that weekend or taking a rest, banged up. But there are some athletes in Israel that are going to surprise you. And I think if we see them over here in Brooklyn for the finals, there are definitely some athletes that could podium or even win it all. Like, they're that good. Israel has
exciting.
A certain television program similar to the things you see during the World Ninja League Premier Series. It's the second most watched show in Israel behind the news.
Blows my mind.
Ninja is huge in Israel.
And that makes me really happy to kind of know just how big of a sport it is over in Israel and the scale of the competition and the intensity that we're going to see from those competitors. And I think we're gearing up now as we move into the teen male division challenger course with Alex Higgins.
Alex had a tough break, was unable to get the dismount on the ring slider as he was flying through the course. So we will see if he can get a measure of revenge here. 2 minutes, 45 seconds on his clock, and he's underway.
Alex placed 16th in the Southeast rankings and is now going to be proving... He's going to have to set the standard here, Alex, and really show the other competitors how to tackle this adapted course. This is the first time we're getting to take a look at it, and the first time athletes are getting to see their fellow competitors on this course as Alex lines up the first grab.
Yeah, even though they got a little bit of beta from their female counterparts, this course is so much harder now.
Ooh.
As you can see, having to do the 180 move already. Everyone else up to this point, this entire weekend, has had to do one. Alex is the first that has to do 3, as all of the other teen males will, of course.
Fortunately, Alex gets that retry here. He can learn from his mistakes. He knows what the switch grip feels like, but he's now got to go for it again.
Not able to get it.
Doesn't stick the landing, unfortunately. Alex Higgins there. That will conclude his run for today. We can just see that switch grip proving to be more difficult than we anticipated for these teen males. And next up, we have another competitor who failed to finish the seeded rounds, but is looking to make a name for himself in this challenge course.
Nathan Hahn, we saw his brother Blake not clear the entire course in the... Oh, no, he cleared the course in the preteens. What am I saying? Cleared the course and qualified for the finals. Nathan would love to join him in both of those aspects. Although we saw Chad, his father, get undone earlier today here on this very obstacle switch grip.
Yeah. And it's worth noting that Nathan has an incredible resume. He was first place in the Team Male Southeast rankings, so he knows how to perform.
Going for the skip.
13 feet lâché. And
putting it to use as he makes it through, and now on to the toss-up. This is a pretty far jump to slopers, and Yeah, those are harder slopers. Those are a lot
they've
harder
adapted
slopers.
the slopers. Those grips are not easy, and Nathan is learning that as he gears up for his second attempt here, second and final attempt on this obstacle.
This was a stage
really
3
tensing those
obstacle
arms there.
a year ago. He's flipping down to the handles, smart call, and these rounded handles, we've been calling them slopers, but realistically you can front grab them. You cannot front grab a sloper, which is on that second hold.
Not at all.
Banging
Now
his way
just moving through the
jumping
spider wall.
as he moves on to Spinal Tap.
Now this is our first time we're going to be seeing the use of the adapted Spinal Tap. So the sides are off use here, and the ninjas are really going to have to push it with some lock off.
Kind of mixes a bouldering problem with some of the technical moves of a circuit board, key lock hang, really combining disciplines here. Now the amateur men were allowed to use the... Oh, look at this, one-handing it. So yeah, they will be allowed to use the blackboard here on their way down.
A great decision there by Nathan. As we're looking at an incredibly clean run here. However, Alex, this is an obstacle that has taken out so many of our ninjas, and Nathan will be the first one up.
So it looks like they don't even get the choice. They have to go for the skip. They don't even get a hold.
Wow.
Now the good news
they really
for them
have to send it there.
Is that the cane is only rotated 90 degrees compared to 180, but still it's going to be a mid-air move after already grabbing something in mid-air. This is Premier Series. We are not here to mess around.
No, Nathan definitely has his work cut out for him here, as they're just resetting the cane slider at the moment. This will be his final attempt on this course. He has no more retries in the bank. Nathan lining up the cane grab.
Not much time either. Unfortunately, airballs then was on his second attempt, but a strong run out of Nathan, who I think didn't realize that his run had ended. But still, though, pretty strong. Was the first today to beat the new and improved switch grips, getting the skip as well, and then this sloper hold came in with a vengeance. Like I said, it was a stage 3 obstacle a year ago. Now it is the 4th obstacle on this course. Here in Premier Series, these are the toughest courses these athletes are going to face in their competitive careers.
And now up for Quinn Mitchell. He's looking to now do even better than what we just saw out of Nathan, and hopefully he's learned some of the key surprises of the course, such as the difficulty of cane slider and the difficulty of those grabs on the slopers. So now Quinn moving into switch grip.
Kind of an
Nathan
awkward
seems
approach there on the spinning logs, taking a lot of pauses, but he was able to persevere through. So great resiliency out of Quinn.
Yeah, despite being such a difficult obstacle, we are seeing our ninjas make the spinning logs look quite easy, as he now lines up switch grip. It's worth noting that all of these involve switching the grip now. So this is going to be Quinn. Sticks the first one.
Lining up the second move, and I've had ninjas describe to me that these sideways moves are actually harder when they're closer together, and he was going for the 4th one, not going for the skip that Nathan went for.
That
and
is
now
a bit of a
finds himself in the
surprise
danger
there.
zone.
Quinn was arguably looking very strong on those first few switch grips, and I think I can align with the fact that it would be more difficult if they're closer together, because it's quite hard to build up the appropriate swing in such a short distance in between each one. Quinn now on his second and final attempt here on this obstacle.
No!
And just coming unstuck on switch grip.
Yeah, I wonder how much grip he had left still. He made it to the very end after a shaky start to the course. This was the move
Quinn
right here. If he would have gone for the skip, he might have had it, but just couldn't match that backhand on the 4th and final board.
Well, now looking to go even further into the run is Grant Andrews. He is now our 4th competitor stepping up to the plate. He placed 11th in the Southeast standings, so he has some great experience coming into this competition. And he's attacking this course with great pace so far. Now just moving through the spinning logs, and now onto the infamous switch grip, which is taking out more competitors than we expected so far. the team males really have their work cut out for them as Grant Andrews lines up this first grab.
Each of the last two athletes have
And now
asked
this
for
is-
chalk really early into this course, which I find interesting. I wonder how much chalk is coming off on that spinning pole on the first obstacle.
Yeah, you can notice that the first spinning pole is quite slippery, but Grant Andrews is potentially lining up the dismount here.
Oh no,
Oh!
just missing it. And I wonder if he's going to try to go for the fourth board on his second go. Now,
And
the
we
retries
gotta-
do allow you to go for more aggressive moves because you can do the safer approach on the second attempt.
We have to commend Grant for going for it there, for just sending it towards that dismount platform. And again, just showing how far it actually is. Grant is going to be reassessing coming into this next grab. And hopefully, it'll be interesting the approach he takes. He's going to be going for that final grab on the switch. And he sticks it, Alex. And now he can line up the dismount with comfort and ease. Still having a bit of struggle on the dismount.
That
as we
platform
now-
wanted a little bit of vengeance as he finally defeated it. But in any event,
Now we-
onto the toss-up.
Kick forward, kick forward.
Jumping
The
right off the
toss-up is
handles.
proving to be a difficult obstacle, of course, in Stage 3 of the World Championships last year. And yeah, we can see the difficulty of those grips. If you have to squeeze as hard as you can. Grant Andrews now using his second and final attempt on toss-up here.
Look at it and thread. One more. Here, pull up. Shoot it. Laser it, laser
See what he
laser
can
it.
do. Oh wow, he went for the handles. Wasn't able to get it. An
That's not a
ingenious
bad
move.
approach, though.
Grant might have just unlocked a beta for those that don't want to go for the slopers.
I think people are surprised. We can just see that stack once again. We've got to commend Grant's commitment for going all out here. Couldn't stick the first grab and then goes all the way through. Grant is fearless on this course. As we are now moving straight into our next competitor, Jonathan Covington, our fifth competitor, placed 14th in the Southeast standings. So all round, an exceptional athlete who knows how to perform well on a course. And Jonathan is attacking it so far as we move into switch grip.
I think he
And
took a
just
fall there,
falls
he did.
short on that first grab, unfortunately.
So after
As we now-
guessing that Osega was either in Georgia or Florida, I was completely wrong. It's in North Carolina. My bad, y'all.
Jonathan now lining up his second go
There we go.
for the switch grip.
Getting that jump on a second attempt, and now getting the hang of this obstacle. Is he going to go for the skip, or is he going to go for one last board? Looks like he's going
I
to
think
go
he's
for the
still
fourth
making up his
board.
mind.
There you go. He's got it. So after falling on the first transition, he's able to get all three on his second attempt. Great resiliency.
Jonathan proving that he is an athlete here to compete as he lines up for toss-up. The obstacle, not only is switch grip proving to be difficult, but toss-up as well is proving to be surprisingly difficult as he goes for this first grab. It's a very difficult grab.
He went for the slopers. Let's see
just
if he
falls.
goes for the handles on his second attempt.
Yeah, I wonder if he saw Grant Andrews go for the handles and if he'll look to incorporate that into his run.
But on the other hand, you notice when he grabs these handles on the backside of the first set, it kind of kicks you back and makes you lose your momentum. So, first of all, it's in a very difficult toss. And second,
Yeah.
that's going to eat up all of your momentum when you catch that.
Yeah. And regardless, it was an exceptional run by Jonathan. All around, he showed great resilience throughout the run, making some mistakes, learning from those mistakes. And toss-up is proving to be more difficult than we expected, Alex, as we move into Matthew Buckner.
Matthew got a little bit crooked there on shrinking steps. Every athlete has defeated shrinking steps on their first attempt, and I'm going to say that because I don't believe in commentator jinxes.
Let's hope not, Alex.
We did at least see some pole vault fails last week, so we're not perfect for the entire series.
Very, very true. Well, we saw Matthew Buckner at the World Championships this year, and he's definitely going to be incorporating some of that invaluable experience into this.
He was right there at the end, had it, and lost his grip. I think he just didn't get high enough with his fingers on one of the two sides and just gave out. Let's see if he can beat it on a second attempt. He's going to have to if he wants to qualify.
He's moving through it with a great deal of pace here. And now coming into this final grab. This is the one where he came unstuck.
Gets it on his
Yes,
second
yes.
attempt. There we go. You can tell that's a little bit of an upwards move, so a little bit more difficult having to get a pop upwards in addition to going across.
That is the beauty of the retry, though, is that they get to learn from their mistakes, have another go at it, and we get to see these ninjas cracking onto these later obstacles as we now move into toss-up, an obstacle that is proving to be so difficult for our teen male ninjas.
Yeah,
And rightfully so. I mean, for a Stage 3 World Championship obstacle, it is no easy feat to complete this in a qualifier.
which one is he going to go for? He has a very powerful swing. He was going for the handles and wasn't able to grab it.
Just see him there on the floor. All round, an exceptional run to that point, Alex. But we are seeing our teen male ninjas come undone from a surprisingly difficult course. This is proving to be very difficult for our male ninjas as we're struggling to get them past the fourth obstacle here.
Nathan Hahn, a teammate of Cooper's who's currently on the start line, is the only athlete so far that's beaten the fourth obstacle toss-up. And now that we have 4 through switch grip, we will start eliminating athletes as soon as athletes get into the top 4.
Okay, well, Cooper is moving through at maybe the fastest pace we've seen to this point so far.
Yeah, he'd only need to beat this in
Really?
53 seconds to get into second place. And the way things are going today, you never know. He's going to go for a skip just like Nathan did. And he gets the skip just like Nathan did. I think that's his dad there on the sidelines, giving moral support in addition to course advice. Let's see if he can catch these slopers. Oh, he did! First attempt! Now I got to flip over to the handles like a throwback move.
Or he might just send it.
I think he's sending it. He sent it! And he got the dismount! Incredible move by Cooper. And now onto the jumping spider. This is the fastest pace we've seen.
Cooper is laying down an exceptional run for these athletes that are going to have to follow. They would be watching on the sidelines in terror as Cooper is having an incredible, exceptional run here.
Now Nathan flew through this obstacle, so Cooper is going to have to keep up his pace. Still both retries in his back pocket, but remember, you cannot use both retries on the same obstacle.
And it is worth noting there is now 1 minute 10 on the clock. So Cooper is going to be pushed for time here as we move through the endurance part of this course. Will he take both handles? It looks like he's going to abandon one of them.
Yeah, Kane
as
was
he comes into
mentioning
the
this
back
as
end of
a
this
potential
obstacle.
strategy, only going with one handle. And so far, it's been 2 level up athletes that have listened to his advice.
And now we're coming into Kane's slider. We have not seen any of the teen male athletes complete this. Only one competitor up until this point has made it to Kane's slider. And it is a difficult one, Alex. This is a tough transition here. You have to put the cane into the ring midair. And Cooper just falling short there.
Yeah, he had enough
But he
height
will
to
have-
get up to the cane, but he didn't have enough across, and his dad is giving him some advice. You really have to slam that cane in, he's saying.
It is a tough transition that we're asking of these ninjas. But hopefully we can see Cooper here as he lines up for his second attempt.
Oh, he had the right idea. He had the right
That was
idea,
so
just
close.
missed the ring. He should be very proud of that run. It will put him into second place, and again, the way things are going, you never know.
Cooper, again, showing his strength on those side sloper grabs. That is a remarkable feat of strength, Alex. He had no trouble, despite all our other ninjas falling there, he had no troubles with those grabs. It just goes to show how much momentum you need on Cane Slider there. Cooper going all out in order to try and make that transition, but just couldn't quite get there as we now move into our next competitor. Evan Newcomb now coming into spinning logs with a great pace.
Yeah, we're
He now
halfway.
knows what
we're
he has
halfway
to be.
through
He's had
the-
more.
You go.
Oh, I was just going to say he's had more than 6 podium finishes in the 2023 season, so an incredibly consistent athlete. And Evan is proving that once again as he eyes up a top finish and a top spot, hopefully, here on this run.
Well, we're halfway through our teen division, 7 athletes down, 7 to go, and none have beaten the 7th obstacle. It's proving to be unlucky today. There's a huge crux point in the amateurs. This wasn't so much a crux point, but it has become one with this brutal sloper hold,
Yeah.
which Evan catches. So athletes
Showing
not
some
even
promise.
athletes not even so much needing to make that skip to the handle that we saw a couple people try and not get.
Yeah. Evan advanced
Oh.
to stage. Oh, what a bit of a surprise there on
Yeah.
Jumping Spider.
Wonder how much of his grip
He
got
will get a
taxed from
retry.
toss-up.
Yeah. That was actually quite surprising there. We haven't seen too many athletes fall on Jumping Spider, but luckily it's just one retry con. It's not a big deal. He was one of the athletes to advance to stage 2 of the 2023 World Championships, so definitely has the experience required to complete this course and knows how to deal with difficult courses. Evan now coming in with 1:17 on the clock. Time is of the essence.
Stage 2 at the World Championship for the teen males was one of the most difficult courses we've ever had. Only one athlete out of 66 beat the entirety of Stage 2. That was our world champion, Aaron Magiacomo. But Evan
Well,
is our
Evan is
third
now-
athlete now to the cane slider. And I believe this is a new fastest time, but we'll have to check.
This is exciting, Alex. Fingers crossed we can see an athlete through cane slider here. Really building up the momentum as he goes for this grab.
Oh, had it centered up, had the right idea, but just airballed it. He will get a second go.
Yeah, it's proving that the athletes, whilst they do have that vertical, perhaps having that lateral movement to the sides is not quite there in their momentum at the moment.
Let's see the second
Now
attempt.
lining up the second and final go.
Same thing happened. Got the cane, but just didn't have the distance.
It is surprising to see such strong athletes coming out on these courses. We were really hoping to see a finish there from Evan, but all round he can be incredibly proud of that run. And who knows, maybe that will be enough to secure him into that top 4 and into the Premier Series finals.
Well, that does put him into first place. So right now, Matthew Buckner on the bubble, and John David Spatola would knock out Matthew if he's able to beat toss-up, and would confirm that you have to beat toss-up to advance to the finals. No athlete has clinched yet, as we still have 6 to go.
This is proving to be a very tight competition as we move into the last few athletes and our most competitive athletes, arguably. We're starting to get into the competitors who scored and who had the fastest run so far. And we can just see the standings popping up so far. And what so far from Evan. Nathan following suit with a 149 and Cooper Hall with a 152. Getting to the pointy end, cane slider is proving to be the crux point of this run.
I just noticed, by the way, that John David is wearing 2 different shoes. That's interesting. Now
I wonder if he woke up
as
too
far
late
as I'm
and
aware,
just raced it.
I am not aware if they sell 2 different colored shoes, because generally, they sell the same, color and design for the pair. I'm also wondering if those are the same brand of shoes. Generally, you want a certain brand of shoe for Ninja, one with a lot of traction.
That is true. Well, just as athletes in soccer swap jerseys and t-shirts, perhaps the Ninjas are now swapping shoes. Who knows? We
maybe.
might see the other half of the shoes pop up elsewhere.
Well, in any event, here goes
yeah.
John David Spatola. And
Yeah,
he
we
is
can see these
blazing,
top
but might be
athletes
blazing a little too much. Great save.
Yeah, these top 6 athletes are really moving through this course. John is setting a new kind of pace. He wants that top spot. He's going for the dismount now.
And this is the fastest we've seen anyone do switch grip. I think in any division, actually. He went right for the handles as well. But he has great kick. He went for the
He's
handles
sending
again! Okay, then. And you can tell he has great power as he was able to build up kicks twice there from more or less a dead hang.
Alex, we are witnessing an incredibly fast run so far as he moves through Jumping Spider, the first to grab the sides of the wall.
Yeah, actually deciding to do the spider part of that obstacle. I'm wondering if we might be losing some of those ropes when the elites come up later tonight.
I would believe so. I'm sure
That'll
that's
be in
going to
about
be
2
a
hours'
necessary
time.
addition.
But in the meantime, John David Spatola making good work of this course through Spinal Tap, taking one handle with him, tossing the other to the side, and he will, in fact, have by far the fastest time, clearing the first 6 obstacles in just over a minute. In great position to be our first clear, if he is able to be our first clear of Cane Slider.
An exceptional run to this point, but this, Alex, this is the crux point. This is the obstacle that is making all our ninjas come unstuck.
Oh, he got it in the ring, but couldn't hold on. Well, he had one part of the job done.
He did. He did. That's so close. It proves it can be done, though, Alex. He's just got to hold on.
A minute to go, still time.
This is his second and final attempt. Can John David Spatola be the first through Cane Slider?
And he did the same thing again.
Just couldn't hold on there.
Take a look at his very wobbly clear of spinning logs, but the rest was just absolute domination. First today to get that skip to the handles on toss-up, and I wonder if more of our athletes are going to be doing that now.
Yeah, the other competitors would be watching on from the sidelines, seeing a new era of standards being set as we move into our next and 5th seeded competitor.
It's Enzo McCry, and now with 6 athletes through Spinal Tap, you must complete that obstacle to get into a qualifying position. Enzo ran right after John David in the placement course and beat John David by about a second. Let's see if Enzo can keep that trend going.
Enzo
So far,
looking
so good.
really strong here through switch grip. We saw our early ninjas struggle with this obstacle, but these later ninjas are moving through it with ease. As Enzo makes sure of it, taking all the grabs, and now moving into toss-up, this can be a tough obstacle, and it will be interesting to see what strategy he takes here.
It's going to be the handles. It is the handles.
Yeah. Enzo is now seeing it's possible from his previous competitors, and he's sending it. As we now move into Jumping Spider.
Making his way around that swinging arm and onto the rope. Most competitors have skipped the spider, but it is there to help you if you need it.
This is once again a very fast time. We're seeing him match John David's time to this point, and it's going to be interesting to see how Enzo goes. As we move through to Spinal Tap, just a bit of a forearm endurance burner, preparing you for the Cane Slider afterwards.
Yeah, and we've seen athletes really have a lot of variance in their time through this Spinal Tap obstacle, as Enzo's the first to use both handles on the top there. The athletes that have figured that obstacle out quicker generally have been the ones that have been higher in the standings, because that can suck away a lot of time.
Well, with 1:05 on the clock, Alex, we now move into the infamous Cane Slider as Enzo lines up the first grab.
And just like John David, he got it in the ring, and it looked like he held on for a split second longer and just lost his grip.
Cane Slider is proving to be the obstacle of the day, the obstacle that is taking out more ninjas than any other, as Enzo lines up for his second and final attempt. Can he be our first ninja through this obstacle?
Really grabbing the front of that trapeze just to get a little bit extra distance. Oh, and he fumbled the cane on his second go-around. Unfortunately, Enzo not going to beat Spinal Tap, but does beat it fast enough to knock out Cooper Hall, and Enzo finds himself for the time being in the top 4.
This could potentially be a competition to the Cane Slider, just seeing who's first to it. And I think as we move into our top 4 athletes, they now know that getting to Cane Slider in the fastest time could perhaps be the winning run. But I'm hopeful that we're going to see someone through Cane Slider. We're getting closer and closer. And Logan Bono surprised us all with an exceptional top 4 run in the initial qualifiers. So he's going to be looking to get that course completion for us today.
By the way, quick aside, somebody just noted in the chat that Matthew Buckner might have had his first WNL clear today. So congratulations to everybody who hit a buzzer in the placement course. Wanted to call that out briefly as Logan Bono is making his way through. Athletes now they now know that as long as they beat Cane Slider, they will qualify. The bad news is we know that because there's 4 runners left and nobody's beaten Cane Slider.
Yeah, that is both good and bad news. You can see Logan really starting to attack this course with intensity, knowing that he wants to get to that spot as quickly as possible, secure that place, and then move on to the back end of the course. But we have some very difficult obstacles in place before that, and the first is toss-up. I think he's going to go for the far handle grabs. That seems to be the new beta that everyone is following as he lines up a massive lâcher there.
Yeah, it's a pretty technical one as well because you... What? Okay, sure. I'll allow it.
Why use the last grab when you can lâcher the whole way?
I guess.
Logan is throwing down the gauntlet here with perhaps the on pace for one of the fastest times if you can get through Spider Wall.
Yeah, made you correct yourself a little bit there as you got hung up right at the dismount there. If you have to take 3 extra seconds to dismount, you might as well, because if you don't, then redoing that obstacle is going to be a lot more than 3 seconds.
And as you mentioned, Alex, the time spent on Spinal Tap can really vary between athletes. So hopefully Logan's really going to put on the burners here and just go all out in order to try and secure that top 4 spot.
It's going to be close. We will have to check his time. Doing some head math. I'm really not sure. 149 is the cutoff. And I feel like that was right around the 149 mark. All irrelevant, though, if he can beat Cane Slider and become the first today onto the 8th obstacle.
Everyone on the sidelines is rooting for Logan as he lines up the first grab.
Bobbled the
So
cane, though.
close.
Such a tough move. We've seen kind of these up for grabs moves before. It started with the bar. Last week it was a ring. This week it's a cane that you have to turn in midair and then land into a ring. I mean, just so incredibly difficult, this move. And so many aspects of Ninja all incorporated into one.
Logan now lining up for his second and final
he got it!
attempt.
He got it! Logan Bono is in! Logan Bono's going to Brooklyn and he knows it.
With 10 seconds on the clock, we aren't likely to see a course finish here. But Alex, what an exceptional run from Logan Bono, throwing down the gauntlet for all these other competitors, showing that it's possible, and he is celebrating.
A fist pump. He knows his time was up. Just wanted to take an extra moment to celebrate. And that is about as fired up as you're ever going to see an athlete. Logan Bono, with emphasis, moving into first place.
He was pushed for time throughout this run, potentially not even securing a top 4 spot, but as soon as Cane Slider was complete, he has confirmed his place in the finals. And Alex, it is possible, and Logan has proven it. Just an exceptional grab here. All round, just perfect run. So happy, such a good athlete and such a good spirited athlete.
I'm glad we highlighted him in the intro after all that then, because he is on his way to Brooklyn. Will David Fuderin join him? Time will tell. 2 minutes 45 seconds on the clock, and through the first 2 obstacles now.
I love that as we move into the back end of this competition and we get to these top athletes, the pressure is really on. Yes, they've seen other athletes go through, but now they know what they have to beat. And that pressure can sometimes cause them to crumple. But David is showing no signs of struggle as he flies through switch up. Now on to toss up. Once again, lining up a massive lâcher to go for those back handles.
And it works. Now I wonder if he's going to skip as well. He is. Now those cannonballs aren't the most difficult things to grab, but we've been seeing competitors skip it solely because they can.
Yeah, and I think it's just the faster approach. Time is of the essence. And David is throwing down an incredible time here as we come into Spinal Tap. However, this is an obstacle where the time can be run down and athletes can come unstuck if they're not careful. It's an endurance-based obstacle. that requires athletes to move through this as fast as they can. It's really just designed to burn the forearms before stepping up to the infamous obstacle that is coming up next.
David is a nationally ranked gymnast, climber, and ninja, and a varsity wrestler, so a very multi-talented athlete. I'm not sure gymnastics, climbing, or wrestling is going to particularly help on cane slider. This is a move unique to ninja. But David, obviously a very talented ninja, as you can see there, as he's the second one to clear today. And moving into first place with his time.
We could see a clear here. David is definitely on pace to be able to complete this.
Well, he gets the move on Deja Vu, now needs to reach up for that ring. Unhooks it.
The question is, does he have the energy here? It's been a tough run.
I mean, he's really getting caught up there. Now, he got the front of the ring. He wanted to get the back. Oh my goodness, he tried to go around it.
What an exceptional run all round by David. showing his skill just on that obstacle there, and making the cane slider look really easy, to be truthful. He nailed that first go.
Now, he has one more attempt at Deja Vu. I don't know if that was what he intended to do on Deja Vu. You do get 2 rings and a bar to help you. He muscles up to the other ring this time. Let's see if he hooks it around the back. He does. Now the skyhook move, he gets it. 10 seconds left, needs to get out of there. 7 seconds, the clock is ticking.
This is going to be close.
Gets the ring, 2 seconds! No!
No!
That close, he had a foot on the final platform. About a foot away from the buzzer as time ran out. But David Fuderin secures his spot on the podium and his spot in Brooklyn in November.
Just all round a perfect run by David, and although he came short there at the time, at the last second, you can't fault that run. Just all round incredible. David was going for it all throughout, and just setting a pace that we really haven't seen today from our other athletes. And coming into our last 2 competitors, David has set the standard that our SoFlo athlete, Leo Castro, is going to have to try and match. You can see he's got the AirPods in, focused and on the course at hand, as he is coming through with one of our top paces so far.
Leo unable to qualify last week, given it another shot this week. He went out on boats the next to last obstacle. Getting to the next to last obstacle today would secure him a spot back in Brooklyn in November.
Well, Leo is looking on pace to secure a top spot. However, we have seen some massive upsets on this course, so nothing is guaranteed, as Leo, our second highest placed athlete for today, comes into Jumping Spider. He's looking happy, Alex. He's got a smile on his face.
He should be happy with this run so far. It's one of the fastest paces we've seen, but it can all come undone in these next 2 obstacles. Nobody has failed Spinal Tap yet in this heat, but we have seen a wide variety of times here. Some athletes have gone very fast. Some have had a little bit of trouble understanding what to do on this obstacle. It's all about adaptability.
And we can see Leo here. It'll be interesting to see what approach he takes on the mid part of this obstacle. We've seen some athletes just drop one of the handles and just use a single one. And it looks like that's the approach that Leo's going to be taking. And now moving into our favorite obstacle, Alex.
Oh boy, cane slider. I don't think his time is fast enough to secure a spot in the top 4, so he's probably going to need to beat this.
Well, maybe that was done intentionally, so he's got the extra pressure and he has to complete it now.
Well, Leo, if you think you can beat it and you want to rest and save your time, that's one way to do it. And he got it! Actually, kind of bobbled the cane. I think he didn't mix grip it. I think he front grabbed it. That was... I'm going to need to see a replay of that. But Leo Castro getting revenge, and now potentially getting his buzzer that he missed out on last week. Although
his
he's
buzzer
going
is
for both
possible.
rings. I think, no, he's going for one ring.
He's got 20 seconds on the clock here. He's going to have to pick up the pace. He does with connecting it straight away. And
15
now coming
seconds,
into
he
the
has
walk
time.
with 13 seconds.
Just has to beat it. He does. And Leo Castro exacts his revenge. He's going back to Ferox in 3 months' time. And he is going to be in the top 2 of today's competition as our first team clear.
Alex, that was all round a magnificent run, completely flawless in terms of the way in which Leo carried himself. He took his time throughout the early stages of the course, making sure that he had enough time to be ready for Cane Slider and to be well rested. I can't fault that run, Alex. That was exceptional from Leo.
And we are on to Colt, your new favorite athlete, Colt the Bolt.
Colt the Bolt. I am keen to see him absolutely smash through this course. He nailed the placement course, and now coming into the challenge course, he's incredibly fast, and we're going to see how he goes now as he goes into switch grip.
Being first
Gearing
in the
up for that
challenge course,
dismount.
or being first in the placement course, not necessarily a given that you're going to make top 4. As we
Not
saw
at all.
earlier in the day, Zach Keenan had the fastest time by far in the placement course, but came undone. And okay, Colt going back to the original strategy.
Alex, does Colt know how to slow down or just take his time? I don't think he does. I don't think that's a part of his brain.
Well, in any
Just he
event, I'm
goes
very
fast.
glad to see him use the sloper on that obstacle. Technically the faster move.
It is nice, and it's nice to see that link as well. Just shows the strength and confidence that Colt exhibits. And as our top place athlete here in this challenge course, he is setting an incredible time to this point.
And he's going really methodical on the spinal tap. Okay.
Just using the
Whoa,
one arm,
what?
why would you need to?
Yeah, I guess not. And that time, I want to say is faster than John David Spatola's to this point, which would put Colt in the top 4. He would for sure secure a top 4 if he's able to beat this obstacle. Realistically, he wants to join Leo in the buzzer squad. But he fumbles the cane, having to use a redo.
That was arguably close though, Alex. It was looking very strong there, so hopefully Colt can recover and just bolt through this cane slider and onto the back end of this course.
Second
As he
attempt.
lines up for the second grab here. He's got a lot of momentum behind him.
He's a
Bit
little
of
crooked
sideways
though.
momentum.
Gets it! And indeed, the top 4 in the placement were the top 4 in the challenge course, as they're the only 4 to beat Cane Slider. Colt Elder, though, wants to get the sweep and has
Now
the time to
with
do
45
it.
seconds on the clock. There is definitely time to do it, Alex. He's got to stick this landing, and he does. This could be not only a clear time, but an exceptional time as we move into the walk wall with 33 seconds
This
left.
is going to be our fastest today, at least. And he
Earning his
finishes
name, Colt
with a
Bolt.
time of 2:15. Colt Elder, by a wide margin, is going to be your teen male winner in the Premier Series at Motive.
You can see the satisfaction he has there as he's just sitting at the top of the wall, soaking in that win. Just all round, such a dominant athlete throughout the teen division. He had the fastest time we saw during the placement course, and now by far the fastest time we have seen for the challenge course. Colt Elder earning that top spot.
The bad news, Jack, is that it looks like we were having some streaming difficulties during that run, and we're not going to be able to give you a replay. The good news, though, is that you're going to get to see Colt Elder's run on the VOD as many times as you want, and you should absolutely go back and watch it one more time. That was a tremendous run by Colt, who is going to be our winner. First, second, third, and fourth in the placement course were the exact same in the challenge course. First, second, third, and fourth in that order.
Wow. That just proves the value of the placement course and the importance of being seeded later. Not only does it prove that you're a great competitor, it gives you great confidence, and it shows you all the beta strategies coming into your run that you can incorporate. It's as if they get to pick and choose. They get to pick and choose from the athlete's mistakes and successes and say, I won't do that, and I'll just do this instead. And yeah, goes to show once again the value of that placement course.
Well, an exciting competition in the teen division. And Jack, you and I get to do it again in an hour and a half because the elites are coming up at 7:15.
I can't wait, Alex. The Elite Division is truly going to be something else. If you thought the Team Division was incredible, wait until you see the Elites.
And you know that this course is going to get even harder than the one you just saw. In each of the first 2 waves today, we only saw 1 challenge course clear, and it's still going to get tougher.
Well, I can't wait, Alex. And yeah, for everyone listening, stay tuned as we'll be back in the next hour and a half, ready for our Team Elite Division.
We will rejoin you at Motive then.